Welcome to today's lecture on the South, Eastern, and Western perspectives. We'll explore how different cultures and philosophies perceive the concept of selfhood and see how these ideas apply to real life situations. Let's dive in. The concept of the self is central to many philosophical and cultural traditions. Understanding these perspectives can offer valuable insights into our daily lives and personal growth. We'll start by exploring Western perspectives and then move to Eastern philosophies with real life examples to illustrate these concepts. Western thought has a rich history of exploring the South. Let's begin with Socrates. Socrates is renowned for his focus on ethics and the pursuit of moral virtue. He believed that knowledge and virtue are closely linked, asserting that knowing what is right leads to doing what is right. His famous declaration, "The unexamined life is not worth living," emphasizes the importance of self reflection and critical examination of one's beliefs and actions. Socrates emphasized self awareness with his famous phrase, "Know thyself." In practice, this means regularly reflecting on your values, actions, and purpose in life. Consider someone making a career change, reflecting on their strengths, values, and passions. Echoing Socratic self awareness can guide them to a fulfilling career path. Next is Plato. Plato viewed the self as a soul seeking knowledge of eternal forms. This suggests a pursuit of higher understanding and ideals beyond material concerns. Plato's theory of forms posits that the material world is a reflection of a higher, non-material realm of perfect, immutable forms or ideas. These forms are the true reality, while the material world is a mere shadow or imitation. For example, the form of beauty itself is perfect and unchanging, while physical objects we consider beautiful are imperfect and transient. Let's take, for example, an individual passionate about art might pursue deeper philosophical or spiritual questions through their creative work, seeking a form of transcendence in their art. Let's have Aristotle. Aristotle saw the self as a combination of body and soul, with eudaimonia, or the flourishing, achieved through rational action and virtue. Eudaimonia is often translated as happiness or flourishing, but it carries a deeper connotation of living well and fulfilling one's potential. For Aristotle, eudaimonia is the highest good and the ultimate goal of human life. It is achieved through living a life of virtue and rational activity. He argues that every being has a specific function or purpose. For humans, this function is a rational activity, acting according to reason. Therefore, a good life for a human is one that fulfills this rational function. Think of someone who practices mindfulness and exercises regularly to maintain both physical health and mental well being. This balanced approach reflects Aristotle's idea of flourishing through the integration of body and mind. In Aristotle's ethical theory, eudaimonia is the ultimate goal of human life and is achieved through living a life of virtue in accordance with reason. It involves finding a balance between extremes, engaging in rational activities, and fostering good relationships. Now let's go to the modern Western thought. We'll have Descartes. Descartes, I think, therefore I am, centers the self on consciousness and thought. In the digital age, where people often reflect on their online presence, Descartes' idea encourages critical thinking about how our digital self reflects our true thoughts and beliefs. Now let's talk about Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant, an 18th century German philosopher, made significant contributions to ethics, particularly with his formulation of the categorical imperative, which is a key element of his moral philosophy. One of the central ideas in Kant's ethical theory is the concept of universal law. Kant focused on the self as an autonomous moral agent guided by reason. Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can, at the same time, will that it should become a universal law. This means that before acting, you should consider whether the principle guiding your action could be universally applied to everyone. If it is acceptable for everyone to follow the same principle, then the action is morally permissible. Example: an individual faced with an ethical dilemma at work might use Kant's principles to make a decision based on universal moral laws rather than personal gain. Immanuel Kant's principles of universal law, as articulated through the categorical imperative, is a foundational element of his deontological ethics. It requires that actions be guided by principles that can be consistently universalized, ensuring moral actions are grounded in fairness, consistency, and respect for all individuals. Next is existentialism. Jean Paul Sartre was a prominent 20th century French philosopher and a key figure in the development of existentialism, a philosophical movement that emphasizes individual freedom, choice, and the inherent meaninglessness of existence. Existentialists like Sartre emphasize creating one's own identity through actions. One of Sartre's fundamental claims is that existence precedes essence. This means that individuals are not born with a predefined purpose or nature. Instead, people first exist and then define their own essence or identity through their actions and choices. Unlike objects, which are designed with a specific purpose in mind, humans create their own meaning and values through their lived experiences. Sartre emphasizes the concept of radical freedom. According to the existentialism, individuals are free to make their own choices and are responsible for shaping their own lives. This freedom is both empowering and burdensome, as it comes with the weight of responsibility for one's actions and their consequences. Example: someone who changes careers or starts a new hobby, actively shaping their identity and life direction, embodies Sartre's view of self creation. Sartre's work encourages a reflective examination of one's own life choices and the nature of human existence, continuing to influence contemporary thought and discussions on the nature of human freedom and authenticity. Now let's explore Eastern philosophies, which offer a distinct perspective on the self. Let's start with Hinduism. Atman refers to the individual soul or self, which is believed to be eternal and divine. It is considered a part of the universal Brahman, the supreme reality or world soul. The Atman is the true self, a divine essence beyond physical existence. Example: a person engaged in yoga and meditation might be exploring their Atman, seeking a deeper connection to their true self beyond everyday concerns. And we also have the Bhagavad Gita, a key scripture that is part of the Mahabharata epic, focusing on duty, righteousness, and devotion. The Gita teaches about self realization and duty or dharma. Example: a professional might find meaning in their work by aligning their career with their personal values and sense of duty, reflecting the principles discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. Hinduism is a complex and multifaceted religion with ancient roots and a rich tapestry of beliefs and practices. It emphasizes living in accordance with one's dharma or moral and ethical duties, understanding the nature of reality, and seeking liberation from the cycle of rebirth. Next is Buddhism. Buddhism teaches that by gaining insight into the true nature of reality and practical ethical living, mental discipline, and wisdom, one can attain enlightenment or nirvana, which is the liberation from the cycle of suffering and rebirth. Anatta, or the non-self, or anatman, is a key concept in Buddhism that refers to the idea of no self or non-self. It challenges the belief in a permanent, unchanging self or soul. According to the doctrine of anatta, there is no fixed external self or identity that exists independently of the mind and body. Buddhism teaches that the self is an illusion, a collection of changing phenomena. Example: practicing mindfulness and letting go of rigid self concepts can help individuals manage stress and anxiety. Understanding that their sense of self is fluid and interconnected with others. In daily life, Anatta encourages Buddhists to see themselves as fluid and ever changing, rather than clinging to rigid notions of identity or ego. It promotes mindfulness of the present moment as it encourages awareness of the fleeting nature of thoughts, feelings, and experiences. In summary, Anatta is the Buddhist teaching that there is no permanent, unchanging self. It helps people understand the impermanent and interconnected nature of existence, and by doing so, it aids in the reduction of suffering and attachment. Mindfulness and enlightenment. Mindfulness, or sati, is the practice of being fully present and aware of the current moment, including one's thoughts, feelings, sensations, and surroundings. It involves observing these experiences without judgment or attachment. In Buddhism, mindfulness is a key component of the Noble Eightfold Path and is essential for developing insight and understanding. The enlightenment, or nirvana, is the ultimate goal in Buddhism. It represents the state of liberation from the cycle of suffering and rebirth, or samsara. Enlightenment is characterized by the complete cessation of craving, aversion, and ignorance, key causes of suffering. The pursuit of enlightenment involves transcending the ego. Application. Someone practicing mindfulness might experience a sense of interconnectedness and reduce ego driven conflicts, reflecting the Buddha's path to enlightenment. In summary, mindfulness is the practice of being aware and present, which aids in the cultivation of insight and understanding. It serves as a foundational practice on the path to enlightenment, which is the ultimate liberation from suffering and the realization of true peace and freedom. Now let's talk about Confucianism. Confucianism emphasizes the self's role within social relationships and ethical behavior. Confucius taught that society is built on five key relationships, and that maintaining proper behavior within these relationships is essential for harmony. Ruler and subject, parent and child, husband and wife, elder sibling and younger sibling, friend and friend. Each relationship is based on reciprocity and mutual respect, where each person fulfills their role in accordance with their responsibilities. For example, rulers should be benevolent and subjects should be loyal. Parents should care for their children and children should be respectful. It emphasizes moral integrity, social harmony, and the importance of human relationships in achieving a well ordered society. Rather than focusing on spirituality or the afterlife, Confucianism is primarily concerned with how individuals should behave in their personal lives, communities, and society at large. A community leader who prioritizes harmony and fulfills their roles with integrity embodies Confucian values, recognizing the self's connection to and responsibility towards others. We have Taoism, or Taoism. Taoism is a philosophical and spiritual tradition that originated in China over 2,000 years ago, emphasizing living in harmony with the Tao, which is understood as the fundamental principle that underlies the universe. The term Tao translates to the way or the path, symbolizing the natural order of things and the flow of life. At the heart of Taoism is the belief that humans should align themselves with the Tao by embracing simplicity, spontaneity, and humility. Instead of striving to control life or impose order, Taoists advocate for letting things unfold naturally. This philosophy often encourages non action or Wu Wei, meaning effortless action or action through inaction, where one allows events to take their natural course without unnecessary interference. Wu Wei is a fundamental concept of Taoism, often translated as non action or effortless action. However, this doesn't mean doing nothing or being passive. Rather, it refers to the idea of taking action in a way that is in complete harmony with the natural flow of life and events, without force or excessive effort. In practice, Wu Wei is about acting in accordance with the Tao or the natural order and responding to situations fluidly without resistance or unnecessary struggle. Instead of forcing things to happen, you allow them to unfold naturally. This often leads to more effective outcomes because actions are taken at the right time and in the right way rather than being forced or rushed. Taoism advocates for living in harmony with the Tao or the natural flow of life. In a real life application, an individual who adopts a more relaxed and flexible approach to life, embracing spontaneity and reducing resistance to change, is practicing Taoist principles. In everyday life, Wu Wei can be seen in simple actions like solving problems calmly rather than rushing or forcing solutions. It's about trusting the process, letting go of rigid control, and acting naturally in the moment. In essence, Wu Wei is a way of living that encourages us to move gracefully through life, in harmony with the world rather than struggling against it. Now let's compare these perspectives in their real life applications. Let's start with individual and the collective self. Individualism focuses on personal freedom, self reliance, and independence. In individualistic cultures, people are encouraged to pursue their own goals, express their unique identities, and prioritize personal achievements. Success is often measured by individual accomplishments, and people tend to make decisions based on what benefits them personally, even if it might not align with group expectations. Examples of individualistic societies include the United States, Western Europe, and Australia. Focuses on personal identity and autonomy. For instance, someone pursuing personal development through career achievements is reflecting Western individualism. Collectivism, on the other hand, emphasizes the importance of group harmony, cooperation, and interdependence. In collectivist cultures, people tend to prioritize the needs of the group, whether it's family, community, or society, over their own desires. Personal identity is closely tied to the group's success, and individuals often feel a strong sense of responsibility toward maintaining group cohesion. Collectivist societies are common in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, emphasizes the self's role in a larger context. A person prioritizing family and community well-being over individual success is embodying Eastern collectivist values. In essence, individualism values the self-autonomy and personal success, while collectivism values community, connection, and collective well-being. Both approaches have their strengths, and the key is often finding a balance between the two. Self realization versus self transcendence. Self realization or self actualization focuses on individual growth and achievement. It's about developing your talents, achieving your dreams, and reaching your full potential. Self transcendence, on the other hand, is about transcending your ego and connecting with something beyond yourself. It could be connecting to nature, serving others, creativity, or a higher power, achieved through self discovery and personal goals. An artist exploring their identity through creative expression illustrates this idea. While self actualization strengthens your sense of self transcendence helps you go beyond your self interest and ego. It fosters feelings of connection in relationships with others. Self transcendence gives you a sense of meaning, purpose, and belonging. You can experience self transcendence through acts of compassion, creativity, intuition, and peak experiences in nature or spiritual practice. It involves moving beyond personal desires. A meditator seeking unity with the universe is reflecting Eastern self transcendence. Self actualization is about becoming the best version of yourself, reaching your full potential, and finding personal fulfillment. It's the feeling of mastering a skill or tackling a challenge that helps you grow and feel accomplished. You get a sense of competence and direction, and it gives you or drives you to pursue your goals and dreams. But there's another level, self transcendence. This is where you go beyond your own needs and focus on helping others or connecting to something greater than yourself. It could be through acts of kindness, volunteering for a cause, or even focusing on spiritual growth. Self transcendence brings you a deep sense of meaning and inner peace. Both self actualization and self transcendence are essential for a happy, fulfilling life. One gives you motivation and drive, while the other brings purpose and connection. Neither is more important than the other. They work together, like two sides of the same coin. The real challenge is finding a balance, growing into your best self while also making a positive impact on the world. That's the key to living a life full of growth, purpose, and meaning. In summary, the concept of the self varies greatly across cultures and philosophies. Western thought often emphasizes individual autonomy and self realization, while Eastern philosophies highlight interconnectedness and transcendence. Understanding these perspectives can provide valuable insights into your own lives and how we navigate our identities. Now, thank you for joining this exploration of selfhood. We hope this lecture has offered practical insights and inspiration for applying these concepts to your own life.